The best of Money Matters. The Big Story.
Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Hongbin Jeong. Singapore's hiring optimism for Q4 2025 declined to 20%, marking one of the joint lowest figures recorded in over 3 years. That's according to data released by ManpowerGroup. The survey polled 524 employers in July, which indicated that almost half of the companies plan to maintain current staffing levels, while 37% intend to hire and 17% anticipate a reduction in headcount. Notable industries such as transport, logistics, and automotives emerge as key exceptions, recording the strongest net employment outlook, followed by healthcare and life sciences. So what does this data reflect about the broader economic and employment landscape here in Singapore? What measures might be required to support sustained hiring growth across industries? Well, joining us today to share more is Ives Tay, who's an independent workforce development consultant. Hi, Ives. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Ives, what do you make of the significant drop in overall hiring sentiment for Q4 from earlier quarters and year over year? I mean, what factors might be driving this decline?
Well, there are few big reasons. One of it is global uncertainty. So we have developments in the US with the ongoing tariffs, which are very uncertain. And then we have also flashpoints like the Israel-Palestine as well as the Ukraine-Russia issues that's still not resolved. This makes companies very cautious about committing to growth. So the other big factor is AI. So many companies are moving to AI-first operations. So with these AI tools, many companies can get more done with smaller teams. So that means they don't need to hire as aggressively as before. So in a sense, companies, because of these factors, are adopting a wait-and-see approach.
I mean, with the net employment outlook of 48%, the transport, logistics, and automotive industry bucked the trend to be the only one with a net employment outlook up from both the previous quarter. So why are sectors like transport, logistics, and healthcare still showing strong hiring optimism here? Are these structural or sector-specific factors at play?
It's sector-specific. So, for example, healthcare is quite easy to understand because we do have a fast aging population, which means the demand for occupations like nurses, allied health professionals, as well as support staff will be very consistent. So the other sectors like transport, logistics, automotive are strong because Singapore's economy basically depends on trade. So even if demand fluctuates globally, our ports, airport supply chains are still moving goods. So that creates actually a steady hiring needs in these sectors.
Okay. I mean, rounding up the bottom were information technology at 15%, consumer goods and services at 12%, and finance and real estate at 10%. Was this surprising to you? I mean, why is there such a decline in net employment outlook for these industries then?
Well, I'm not surprised at the figures because, for example, IT sector is actually oversaturated at the moment. Plus, the adoption of AI means smaller, sharper teams. So hiring will naturally go down. And firms now hire specialists for AI, cybersecurity, or data rather than large generalist teams. Then for consumer goods and services, economic uncertainty makes consumers spend less. And because of that, businesses will respond by slowing their frontline hiring as well. And then the other one about finance and real estate, it could be probably because of interest rate uncertainty, which makes deals slower and firms more cautious.
I mean, nearly half of employers plan to keep headcount stable, with many citing confidence in their current teams. What does this suggest then about changes in workforce strategy?
Well, it's really about uncertainty. So companies don't want to expand, but they also don't want to risk cutting staff unnecessarily. So maintaining their current teams is right now the safest approach while they wait for more clarity.
On top of this, the data also shows an uptick in temporary workforce usage for surge needs compared to reliance on permanent staff. What might explain this shift toward contingent staffing, and how might it evolve as economic conditions change?
Yes, it's actually related to what we discussed earlier. It's the same driver, uncertainty. So right now, what companies need or want is flexibility and risk mitigation. So they are, again, adopting the wait-and-see approach. And because of that, they will utilize more of temp staff or contractors to meet any surges or special projects. In that sense, they do not need to commit to permanent hires. So in this way, they can stay agile and can adjust quickly as conditions change.
ManpowerGroup also found that the most prevalent recruitment challenge for Singapore employers polled lies in attracting qualified candidates. In fact, in a separate report, Singapore fell 5 places to 7th in a global ranking of economies by their ability to attract, develop, and retain talent. What factors might explain this drop, Ives?
Well, a few things are happening here. So the first one is that the idea of a qualified candidate is often misdefined. So employers sometimes expect certain degrees, prior experience, or even personal characteristics that aren't really about skills. They're looking for something else. And then about the IMD ranking that Singapore has dropped to 7th place, that is more in the context of foreign talent. And Singapore is actually getting too expensive to live and work in, which makes it harder to attract international talent.
So what are the current challenges that lie ahead, though, Ives? Is it hard to find, qualified candidates at the moment? Does this also signal that more people should start upskilling themselves?
Well, if there's really a shortage of skilled candidates, it actually points to a systemic gaps in our education and manpower planning. And yes, individuals should still upskill, but must be particular in what areas are they upskilling in, right? Are they sunset kind of jobs or industries, or are they booming industries? And usually the new areas would combine their domain expertise with AI or digital skills. That being said, this is also a shared responsibility between employers, educators, and policymakers, right? So they all need to work together to ensure that our talent pipeline is strong.
So how can organizations better tap into relevant pools then?
So there are plenty of people looking for work, but the responsibility for training is often pushed around, right? So governments may push it to individuals, employers push it to schools, and schools may claim that they can't replicate real work. So again, it's very much coordination. The pool is there. It's just we need better coordination among the various stakeholders to ensure it works.
And in today's context of hiring softness, Ives, how important is retention versus ramping up hiring? Are companies reallocating their focus across the talent lifecycle?
My opinion is actually that the traditional talent lifecycle is outdated. So many workers and even employers now adopt a contractor, or some call it a fractional mindset, rather than a full-time staff or full-time headcount. So it's going to be less about retention or hiring and more about a flexible, adaptive workforce model that can expand or contract depending on business needs and economic conditions.
Based on the Q4 2025 outlook and evolving talent dynamics as well, what is the most pressing action then that HR leaders or business managers in Singapore should take note of now?
Well, I guess the keyword will be transparency. So HR leaders should be clear about their manpower strategy. If they are not hiring, just say so. Do not pretend. So if they are moving towards more contract or fractional work, communicate that as well, right? So that job seekers know what to expect and how to prepare for it. So they shouldn't let job seekers chase what we call ghost jobs, which is not real jobs. It's just out there for PR or illusion of growth, right? So clear communication, let job seekers make informed career decisions.
What about for the job seekers then? What should they take note of the current job market, and what can they do to, better prepare themselves?
Well, they should be ready to start from scratch if their current sector goes down. So leverage transferable skills to move into new roles. So transferable skills like project management, communication, or problem solving, these skills are highly portable. So also avoid sticking strictly to their past education, training, or job experience. So flexibility is key in today's uncertain market.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Ives, for your time and your insights today.
Sure.
Thank you. That was Ives Tay, Independent Workforce Development Consultant. This has been The Big Story with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.